Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the County. Today I am sitting with Dennis Thompson, the Land Commissioner for Aiken County. Now that sounds like it. You also go by DJ. Would you like to go by DJ or Dennis?
Yeah, let's go by DJ. I think most people know me by DJ. It's a nickname I was given when I was a little kid. But I do go by both, so I'll answer to both.
So, Aiken County Land Commissioner.
Yes.
That sounds very important.
Well, I don't know about how important it is, but we have blessed in Aiken County, we have roughly 225,000 acres of county tax forfeited land that we manage. And we manage that for a number of things, certainly timber production and fiber production for the mills. We also manage it for recreation. We have over 200 miles of ATV trails, over 600 miles of snowmobile trails. We manage 4 campgrounds, throw a couple swimming beaches in there, and so we facilitate the sustainable management of those lands, and we have a staff that helps do that. So we have foresters on staff that will set up the timber sales, and we have recreation people on staff that work on the ATV trails and the snowmobile trails, and so we stay busy throughout the year and throughout the seasons.
And it does sound important, by the way.
Well, it's interesting. The tax forfeited lands, they're actually, the state of Minnesota holds the deed to those properties, but the county is kind of the caretaker of those lands. So we have a fiduciary responsibility to manage those lands for the local taxing district. So that is the charge that we are given through state statute, and that's what we try to do. So
yeah, that's awesome. Taking care of our natural resources
here,
our unique area of a lot of vast wetlands and waterways. Some call them swamps, some call them other things.
Right.
But we have all those different things and a lot of land and a lot of forestry and areas like that.
And that's one of the neat parts about Aiken County is that it's roughly 1.2 million acres, and between the state DNR and the county, we administer roughly half of that land. So from a public recreation standpoint, whether it's bird watching or hiking or four-wheeling, we have it. The opportunities are there for hunting, and there's a lot of public land out there for anybody to come enjoy.
So I know you probably didn't get to be land commissioner by winning a contest or a lottery.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Tell me a little bit about you, DJ. How did you end up here? Are you a lifelong resident of Aiken County? How did you end up in land departments?
Yeah. I am not from Aiken County. However, my parents are from Aiken, graduated from Aiken. Both sets of grandparents were from Aiken. Aiken was kind of my hometown, but not really. So I ended up, obviously, I spent my childhood outside hunting and fishing and camping and always, I know it's a cliche, but I always loved being outside. And so I went to college at the University of Minnesota, and when I was looking into degrees, forestry seemed to kind of fit what I was interested in. So I ended up with a degree in forest resource management from the University of Minnesota. And the first job that I took out of college was in Aiken at the Soil and Water Conservation District.
Okay.
So they were looking for a forester. They had some grant money to hire a forester, and I happened to win that lottery, so to speak. So I spent just over 21 years working for the Soil and Water Office as a forester on staff, and I wrote management plans. Basically anything forestry related found its way to my desk. And then an opportunity came along to kind of change career paths from what I would say would be a private lands forester, moving over to managing the public lands. So there was an opportunity where the land department was looking for an assistant land commissioner at that time. And I was at the point in my life where I was ready for ready for a change, ready for a little transition. And so I started here over 5 years ago. I started working with the land department as the assistant land commissioner. And then about 3 years ago, I became the land commissioner. So,
and the rest is history.
The rest, as they say, is history.
That's cool. I had Veronica in not that long ago from the SWCD talking about that. And I know that they are great partners with the land department, with the planning and zoning department, different areas like that. She had educated me on how you all work together for the protection of our lands and our natural resources.
Yep.
So you mentioned forestry, you mentioned recreation, all of the things that you manage and maintain with campgrounds and stuff like that. And at 1 million acres, 500,000 of those are public lands. So you're watching over 500,000 acres.
The county watches over about 250,000, and the DNR, the state of Minnesota, then watches over the other quarter.
Okay. Yeah. So how many do you have on staff?
We right now, the land department is broken into a couple different divisions. So we have our parks and recreation end of our division, if you will, and we have 2 on staff there, and then we have 2 that are in the office that do the administrative work, and then we have 4 foresters right now and a senior forester. And then myself. So that's the foresters and the admin, that's kind of handles the forestry end of things. And then also within our department is the survey and the GIS, or Geographic Information Systems.
Yeah.
So we have a GIS coordinator and a county surveyor, and then we have 2 in the field surveyors that work with the county surveyor. And then also Long Lake Conservation Center, the Environmental Learning Center, is under the land department's management as well. So all total, we have some part-time employees, but all total there's about 25 or 26 of us that would be considered land department employees.
They're taking care of 250,000 acres. When you do the math, it sounds like a lot of space with a few people. Which is something that you see from Aiken County government a lot is the people that are out there are experts in the field. They take care of the things that they should be taking care of. And sometimes the listeners, you'll never meet a land department person.
Sure.
But know that they're out there doing the protection and the things like that. So.
They are out there. And there's 15 counties, mostly in northeast Minnesota, that have an actual land department that own or administer different amounts of timber. Go into like Pine County or Becker County, and they might only have 60 or 80,000 acres. But if you go over to St. Louis County, they have roughly 900,000 acres. Wow. that their land department is in charge of managing. So Aiken County, we're about in the middle as far as the land base that we manage. So, but yeah, you get into some of the other counties, Coochin County, Itasca County, Cass County, and then of course St. Louis County, and there's a lot of land to manage. There's a lot of responsibility with that. So
you talk about forestry a little bit, and being the novice that I am, I can tell you that trees don't grow overnight. So you must have plans that are 100-year plans, 20-year plans. How do you manage the forest?
Yeah, and we try to manage it through our management plans and our goals and objectives that we have for the land. And one of at the heart of our management is ecological forestry. And what we try to do with that is we're trying to mimic how Mother Nature would manage those stands. So we want to make sure that the trees that we're favoring to grow on one particular site are the trees that would be there naturally, that Mother Nature would want there naturally. So there's a lot of science behind it, and there's a lot of hands-on experience and trial and error, but we try to match individual tree species to the sites where they will grow best there. So, and in order to do that, we have a lot of data on our inventory or on our forests that will tell us when certain areas should be harvested and that type type of stuff. So we have a 5-year, back to long story short, your question about management plans. We do have a 100-year management plan that we update every 10 years. And it's, certainly with trees, it's somewhat similar to growing a garden. But instead of harvesting them once a year, you might only harvest them once every 50 years, or with some species, maybe once every 90 years. So that's kind of our long-range outlook and that guides our management. We also have a 5-year management plan that gets into more of the nuts and bolts of the hands-on of the management. Okay. And that's what the foresters will be looking at, is they'll be looking at that 5-year management plan, and that will outline, how many acres of aspen we should harvest this year, how many acres of oak should we harvest. So we want to make sure that we are not harvesting more than what we are growing, maintaining that sustainability so that we can continue on for many, many years.
It's interesting when you get to a place where you want to harvest. Do you work with local loggers? Is that how it works?
So the foresters will, every 5 years, the foresters will get a list of stands, call it our stand exam list, and those are stands that come up on the computer as ready for management. And the forester will go out there and visit those areas and determine if indeed, there should be something done with that particular stand of trees. If there is, then they will go ahead and they will set up that timber harvest, and they'll run the boundaries of the timber sale. They'll take an inventory of what's out there, and they'll put it all together on what's called a timber sale appraisal. And then we get together as a staff and we review all of the appraisals and make sure that the management looks right for that particular site. And then 3 times a year, we have a timber auction where we have a notice that we send out to the local loggers. And we get together, and those, by law, those timber sales have to be sold on auction, so they go out to the highest bidder. Mm-hmm. So we have loggers and mills that will come to the timber auctions and bid on the right to harvest that timber.
You mentioned using technology with the computers to tell you what you believe is ready, what the computer believes is ready. But then always the expert in the field, live in the woods, making sure that is in fact true.
Right. Yeah, the forester is always out there visiting that site, and we had done a study here on the cost of putting up a timber sale. And part of that, we were looking at the number of hours that a forester will spend on one timber sale and the amount of miles that they will put on a vehicle to get there. And of course, with a county as size of Aiken County, it could be an hour drive just to one area. But the average timber sale took 75 hours to put together from start to finish, and the foresters will put on roughly 1,000 miles.
That's amazing.
On their pickup truck just for that one timber sale. And that's start to finish. And they'll check on, once the timber is sold and the logger moves in to harvest that timber, the forester is there on a regular basis checking the logger to make sure the logger is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that 1,000 miles counts in that as well. But
let's shift gears a little bit if we could. Because in economic development, one of the things that really drives attraction is our recreational amenities, our things that we have in our area that people would really enjoy. You mentioned campgrounds.
Yep.
You said we have 4 campgrounds.
Yeah.
Where are those located?
The county manages 4 campgrounds throughout the county. 3 of them are on the Mississippi River, which is a wonderful resource to have in the county. Of course, a lot of history with the Mississippi River and Aiken being a riverboat town. But starting in the north and working our way south, we have a campground up in Jacobson, which is the very northeast corner of the county. And then we have a campground called Berglund Park, which is inside Palisade or just on the west end of town there in the city of Palisade. And then we have one in Aiken as well, the Aiken campground. And then we have one down in Snake River, which is down by McGrath, which is kind of the southeast, if you will, part of the county. And that one is actually, as its name suggests, is not on the Mississippi River, but is on the Snake River.
The Snake River.
So, and they will have the campgrounds in Berglund and in Aiken have water there, so they actually have a shower house and running water and electricity to those campsites. Campgrounds in Jacobson and in Snake River are what we would consider primitive campsites. There is water available, but there is no shower house. They're pit toilets and more of a camping site and more of a primitive experience. Sure. With those areas. But all of them are beautiful. They're well maintained, and we're quite proud of them.
Yeah, awesome. If a visitor wants to reserve a spot, is that on your website?
Yes, that's going to be on the county website as well as the DNR or the land department's homepage. But yes, it is. Reservations are taken online if it's at least 7 days in advance. Otherwise, they are on a first-come, first-served basis. So we don't have a host or anything that stays on at each campground. So from that aspect, it can be kind of difficult to manage reservations. But yeah, if there's a particular date or a particular campsite that you want to stay at, we start taking reservations right around the first of the year. And we will have people that will be making reservations for 4th of July weekend or Labor Day weekend at certain campgrounds because they want to make sure that they get a certain campsite.
Yeah, nothing better than coming to Aiken County and staying in our campsites and campgrounds, and make sure that you check out that website if you want to reserve. DJ, you also talked about ATV trails and snowmobile trails. I know that one of the things that we have been so interested in is the Northwoods ATV Trail.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about that trail.
Yeah. One of the nice parts is Aiken County has the old Sioux Line Railroad grade that runs diagonally through the southeast corner. That's roughly a 24-mile stretch. And then there is a 48-mile stretch that runs from the east side of the county northwest in direction up to the northwest corner of the county. And there's an opportunity using the Sioux Line Trail, which is an old railroad grade, to access some of these other areas. So the Northwoods ATV Trail system came in with the help of ATV clubs and ATV enthusiasts who wanted to put spur trails in off of that Sioux Line. So that is the Northwood system is set up with the main access point from the Sioux grade or from that old Sioux Line into all these other loops and trails that then connect into Quadna and connect up into Grand Rapids, and then there's trails that connect over into Emily, and you can get up into Outing, and so there's a lot of different loops and different trails that you can take, and all of them, of course, then tie into that Sioux grade.
You have one main connection, but it's not just a straight shot ATV trail. You get off into the woods, and the ATV clubs that are from the area help, I'm sure, in the management and of all of that,
and the maintenance of that, and that's what's nice if you want to just go for a cruise. That's what the Sioux Line is. It's a straight shot. But yeah, if you want a little bit more adventurous route, some of those spur trails are basically cut through the woods. So you get a pretty different experience with those. So we like to think that we provide opportunities for all types of riders. If you want, just that cruise down a single shot down the road with very little dips or bends, or if you want a more technical trail. And then we also we have our Axtell technical riding area.
Okay, yeah, the Valley Fair of the North.
Well,
right?
that's what it's been dubbed. I like the name. But yeah, Axtell was an old gravel pit that the county put some work into to make it essentially a playground for ATVs.
Yes.
So it is an area that is designated as a technical riding area, but there's a lot of different obstacles and features that ATV riders, motorcycles can go out. There's a hill climb and there's a mud pit that's in there, and there's other different trails, and so people have a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was with the mayor, McGregor, at one point the first time I had met him. And the first thing he did was put me in a side-by-side and took me out to the Axtell technical riding area to see all of that. it's amazing in what is there, the hidden gem that's there. And
Yep.
the trails themselves are our unique gem in Aiken County. And again, hopefully your staff gets the credit that they deserve for maintaining those. We love that they're out there helping, and thank you very much for doing all of that.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're passionate about it. The staff that we have that are that manage those areas, they're very passionate about it, and they love that type of outdoor recreation. So they say if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And like I said, a lot of especially our recreation staff have a great time on the job. So
yeah, that's awesome. I know that I'd love to talk to you all day about natural resources and land and all of the things that you're doing, and I hope you will come back.
Oh, I'd love to.
And sit down again, and I'd love to get some of those experts in the field in, too, for educational purposes for our listeners. But before I let you go, is there anything that you want to bring up that you want the listeners to know about at this point?
Not at this time, but I would be more than happy to come back sometime and cover a different topic in a little bit more depth. But
yeah, absolutely.
We have a variety, and that's what's nice about the job, is that there are a variety of things that are on the to-do list, so to speak, and every day is different, and that's what I really enjoy about the job.
Well, we are happy you're here as residents, citizens, and other employees of Aiken County. We're happy that you're here taking care of the land department, leading them and guiding them through all of the different things that they have to do. DJ, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you again very soon.
Count on it.
You're listening to Coffee with the County.